We're powered by Fix It Forward Auto Care. Each and every Monday, it's Community Forward Monday right here on Radio Free Fargo. We get to know those small businesses that you need to know. And it's hosted by Matt and Mark. Guys, good morning to you. Did you survive the 10 days of the Red River Valley Fair?
The thing that I find interesting is last year the fair really was struggling from a business perspective. They tried to change how they did it. They did it over multiple weekends, and they really financially it didn't work very well, and people weren't very happy with it. So this time they made some adjustments, and it seems like things worked out way better this time. So I love seeing, looking at it from a business perspective.
That's right.
Yeah.
They had some ideas. They tried it. It didn't work out as well as they thought. It increased their overhead and actually reduced turnout.
Yeah.
And so then they went back and they made some more adjustments, and it sounds like things worked out really well because everybody I've talked to went there had a great time. And like I said, they had great turnout for stuff.
Isn't that like a blessing and a curse, the business mindset? When you pull into things, you immediately start analyzing, like, how is this working?
Oh, right.
and you do that, but I'm glad you did. But yeah, it was great. And then also in Fargo, Red River Market, downtown street fair got fired up on Saturday. And it was really smoky on Saturday in this area. So much so that we kept our family inside for most of the day. But looking at the pictures, it's an incredible turnout.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Kudos to them. Did you go down there?
I didn't go to the Red River Market, but I know we're wrapping up Red River Valley Fair Week, and now we're heading into the downtown street fair here. So that's going to be coming up, and that's typically a good opportunity for local small businesses to be downtown and show what they got.
Downtown street fair is effectively a group of local entrepreneurs or semi-local regional entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
People starting small businesses. So yeah, there's a lot of that going on down there.
Yeah. It's going to be another busy week here.
It is going to be a busy week. But first, before we get the week going, we got Matt Faul with RedE here today. And Matt, this segment, we usually don't bring the guest in, but we have to today because number one, you're comfortable behind the mic. But number two, your approach this morning, the first thing we saw you were so pure and authentic, was just saying, here's what's going on in my world. And you just had an employee resign this morning.
That's right.
And I appreciate you being willing to kind of just talk about this, because I think a lot of maybe the listeners come and don't think about it from the entrepreneur seat. They think about it from the employee seat, and you just kind of, put your notice in. Sometimes you give 2-3 weeks or whatever it is. Sometimes it's in the banking world, it's on the spot. Right. And so I'd love to spend some time of just like getting into your guys' thoughts on staffing, and then also like what that does to a business owner for future planning. And then how employees or maybe other people can learn from it. So if you get whatever you can share about this morning, could you just let folks know?
Yeah, you caught me right at the right time, because if you ask me a month or 2 or 3 from now and we've got that replacement in place, it probably takes the edge off of it. But when it happens so recent and it's so raw, you ask me, how's it going, Matt? I said, well, if you'd asked me 30 minutes ago, I'd have said it's going great. Great rhythm out there. It's great things going. And then all of a sudden this happens. It's not something I haven't experienced before, but it happens, and now we got to deal with it. Yeah. So it's kind of like this roller coaster, up and down in business. But you know what? I know that we've got a great team. We're resolved to stay. We're resolved to continue forward, kind of like this community forward, right? That's right. This podcast. We've got to keep going forward. We've got to keep doing it with excellence, and we got to find other great people, and we're going to do that. It gives us, here's one thing that's kind of the bright side of the whole coin too, is it allows us an opportunity for something different. Mm-hmm. And it could be better. It could be worse, but it also could be better. Now, we really like this guy. We don't want to lose a great person on our team, but it's a new opportunity. Some new things are going to come as a result. And you know what? This is where I got to be the glass is half full guy.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to keep a focus on that.
Matt, I go with you as well. Is that similar? Because I think about it as like, if we're looking at a book, right? We're looking at the current page that we're on. And Matt, everything you just said is like, you're starting to flip the page, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm always the one that's like, can we turn the page back and see what happened here? Or what could have prevented it? But that does us no good to live in the past.
A million things are running through my mind of what did we do to cause this? Or what could I have done differently?
Yeah. And you move back. How about you, Matt?
We need to assess that, but we don't need to dwell on it, right? Because if there was something you can do, you want to make sure you don't keep making that same mistake over and over. The thing that frustrates me with this, and turnover just happens because people have reasons why maybe they're moving out of the area. Maybe they've been always drawn to a different career change, or, there's lots of health reasons that people might change industry or change jobs. But the thing that I struggle with is, a business really is nothing more than its people. That's where the core value is. And we spend so much time, like we spent our time this weekend. We had a big company picnic where we got everybody together, and we're trying to build that team, get everybody to work together. And you invest all this time, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now we got to reset. And it's exciting bringing in new blood. It's exciting getting new people and new ideas in there. But when you've invested years with people trying to build this strong team, and now that it makes a little bit of crack in it. And it's just like a weld. Like if you crack a piece of metal, when you weld it, the weld is actually stronger than the metal next to it. So a lot of times when you're done with this, you might come off better than when you started, but it's really frustrating at the time because you've invested so much time in building this. And it's not about us. It's the whole team. It doesn't just affect me when somebody leaves. It actually doesn't affect me nearly as much as it does affect all the people around them. And so then you're like, oh man, have we let down the rest of the team because they're all going to have to pick up some pieces while we try and work our way through this.
Yeah. I keep thinking last night, looking at the world through business last night, that Lauren Daigle concert, they were on the catwalk and her entire band was out there with them. And you could just see how much fun they were having. Like it was more than just a work arrangement and just kind of jiving with each other. And Matt, you even went that far when I asked you about like, so can this person be replaced by like remote? And your answer was, I mean, it's all about culture and team. Mm-hmm. Was it not?
Well, obviously, you got to do a plug for Faith Forward here. Steve Shields spoke. Mm-hmm. And by the way, if you haven't heard it, you got to go. If you have heard about it and you're like, I don't have time for that. I had my leadership team, my managers and my leadership team go to this. We took valuable time out of our week. It was several days or 2 days or something like that. And you know what? They all said, thank you so much. But Steve Shields spoke and he talked about how the answer to remote work is culture is too important to us to have people working remote. It's like, you know what? That is a great way to respond. It's the heart of the matter. Mm-hmm. It's not, oh, we just don't trust you or we don't have interest in these expenses or this or whatever it is. And so it was so perfect. I like that response.
Yeah, I appreciate those kind words, but I've been inside organizations that have done remote work. So I don't want to totally throw like a wet towel on them and just say, because like, the one that I was in, they called them water cooler conversations, where it's just like you're missing out on that water cooler conversation. Right. So you need to be intentional about creating it. And so that meant some kind of virtual every so often, just randomly put in there, because you're right. We're humans and we're meant for connection. That's all community forward. I mean, that's what we're doing. And so I really appreciate your rawness this morning, Matt, because it was like, Matt, how's it going? This guy, you all are about to know him. High energy, just full of love. And so like right away when he's like, well, you're catching me here. And just seeing that, Matt, was just like, this is a part that the audience could maybe listen to too, because we don't know who on the other end of this is. They're an employee that maybe doesn't want to have that conversation with their boss before it's, fully planned out. But it's like, no, this is a team. And like, honestly, like knowing the hearts of you two, like you guys would help those people make that next move. And so it's just building that trust in that relationship to help. And yeah, it's not for always like any kind of work arrangement or partnership or whatever else, but it's being comfortable having those conversations. So I appreciate you just being so raw this morning.
And it's interesting, we have these conversations every week with different business owners, but we have a tendency of talking about the good all the time and not talking about the struggles. And there's a whole lot of struggles that people have to get through to get their business up. And if we aren't, that's part of what we're doing too. And if we only talk about the good things, then other people going through this entrepreneurial journey, or might even just be working at some place that's going through this growing company, they see their struggles and they don't realize, hey, everybody's doing this. We're all struggling as we fight our way through.
We are. But we are going to turn the page, Matt, and we're going to look forward like you were. And when we come back, we're going to hear all the things about Matt up until founding your company, RedE.
Mark, you've got an event coming up there at Faith Forward. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, we do. And Matt led in with some nice comments about the conference. So thanks for that, Matt. But we actually have a quarterly event called Breakfast and Bibles.
Yes.
The next one is on August 7th. It's a Thursday morning. It's a short 90-minute event where one leader stands up. This one happens to be Melissa Marshall. She owns the local Dale Carnegie franchise. And then we tie it with scripture. And that's going to be Galatians 6:9. Don't grow weary of doing good, for at the proper time you'll reap a harvest. Harvest ties in well, Matt, with you. It's coming in here today. But it's something about like exactly what we were just talking about in the prior segment of just saying like, don't grow weary of just being a good employer despite having an employee. How do you just build that hope and that perseverance that just continue to do good? So that's what we're going to learn about that day. through Melissa.
Fantastic. Where can we find more information? And are tickets still available?
Tickets are still available, faithforwardusa.org.
Fantastic. We're going to get that up on the Community Forward page as well. And speaking of podcasts, this gentleman knows a little something about that as well.
Well, my first comment when we first got in here, I said, Travis, you're going to love this guy because he came in with some equipment here and just he understands how to market a business.
Yeah.
And do you have your own podcast as well, Matt?
We do. After Hours Ag.
After Hours Ag.
And disclaimer, I can't claim credit for that. Got great team members, marketing people, even our general manager said, we got to do this. And I said, hey, I'll go along with it.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And I hope it has a huge reach, but for all the people listening here, if you're in the ag industry, definitely after this episode, you're going to be following along, but there's a little teaser to get you going. Matt, thank you for coming in. And we always like to start to introduce Matt prior to even founding your company. So can you tell us a little bit about where you grew up and kind of the career path to get in?
Yeah, I guess I was forced to be in Fargo when I was born in Fargo. And we've never left. My grandpa on my mom's side farmed Hillsboro area, North Dakota. I lived in Hendrum, Minnesota. That's where my mom grew up and just always been in the area. And my dad's side, Harvey, North Dakota. Park Christian School through grade school. My class pioneered the high school, but for whatever reason, we decided,
oh, really?
I'm going to go to West Fargo High School. And so went to West Fargo High School, Packers. And then I'll date myself a little bit. 02, class of 02.
I love it. Yep.
And then NDSU seemed natural. I didn't really know what engineering was. They didn't have all the STEM
stuff that
push back then, but I had a physics teacher that knew, hey, you got the knack probably, and a career specialist, which, man, those career people, they're so valuable. I'm so glad West Fargo High School had one. And I know our schools do now. NDSU, mechanical engineering, was a natural path. And another highlight that you would want to know, two other things, probably red hair. And I got a twin brother, identical twin.
Nice.
So there's two of us around and we followed each other. We really went through life doing the same thing, and we're even in business together.
So he went to NDSU for mechanical engineering also?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at your website and I saw, you guys both there as mechanical engineering. I'm like, is that two people or is he just wearing glasses in one of them just to be his incognito mode?
We figured out how to clone ourselves once, at least.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because if you ever do see them, they are identical twins, but Jesse wears glasses. So that is a very helpful thing when you see each other.
Yep.
Okay. So was it really that physics teacher that kind of pushed you into engineering, Matt? Or like what? I really want to understand that.
There's just like my journey, my life, all this that's led me to here is really a lot of small steps, a lot of people investing. I can't say that it was a single person, but certainly they helped me understand what engineering was. I didn't know what engineering was. I did a job shadow at Polaris. I think I did a job shadow somewhere else. For some reason, I wanted to be a farmer when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Obviously that wasn't going to happen with me and being a generation or two removed from the farm, but I didn't want to work for Case Tractor Plant. For some reason, I didn't think it'd be cool to work on tractors. I don't know why, because I love it now. It's like so fulfilling to work on agriculture stuff. But I thought I know why. It's because I was big into snowmobiles.
No, there you go.
Snowmobiling is fun.
That's
exciting.
Right.
Yes. Tractors is cool, but snowmobiling, that's that. So I thought I was going to do that. I did a job shadow with Polaris, and I found out, like, you know what? This might not be a career for me. Now, Polaris would be a great career, but I toured with an engineer, job shadow with an engineer that it just seemed like he did the same thing every day. Like, I need variety. Like, I didn't know what that meant back then, but it's like, maybe I'm going to look at something else.
I love when people in that high school level they think they know what they want to do and they do the job shadowing or they go get involved. Because I think about half the time I see it, they change their mind completely and say, this is not what I want. What a great idea to find that out really early on instead of investing a lot of effort to go there and then realizing it wasn't the right fit.
Yeah. I too love Polaris, and I got to tour Roseau growing up when they did that. And then actually for folks that are really interested in business and that, RedE.Ag has a big plant in Thief River, and they made a bunch of layoffs, and then actually they changed ownership, and they went and hired a bunch of people back and stuff like that. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but
We got a lot of RedE.Ags.
Yeah.
I'm very happy.
You're very happy, yeah.
So I'm glad they're still around.
Yeah. But so you brought it up, though, family farm, Hillsboro-ish area, like tractors, and you got into this ag niche real fast once you got your degree, did you not?
Yeah. So we were very hands-on with my grandpa, my dad, growing up wrenching on combines with my dad. We bought nothing new. It was like kind of like your company, Fix It Forward, right? Yeah. But we'd have to fix something, do body work, change an engine, do the brakes. Like everything we ran was really high miles and kind of junky. People had probably given up on them, but it was a great way to go, great way to learn. And then it just was natural in college. We got connected somehow to Amity Technology in town on an experimental skid steer loader project. I had actually done some construction before I started interning as a mechanical engineer. And so I was driving heavy equipment, and I liked that. And I got to develop a skid steer loader. It was amazing. Millions of dollars were spent, invested. I don't know. It was all shelved and canceled in the end, but talk about a full throttle experience for me. And wow, we did like 3 machines in a course of 3 years, I think.
Wow, that's cool. And so, and you brought up Amity, so then that led to full-time work, did it not?
That's right. Yep. They when the economy really, when there was that credit crisis in 2008, and the ag economy was better than it could ever be, and then it came to a screeching halt.
Yeah, really fast,
like really bad. They, instead of laying us all off on the R&D side for that loader project, they incorporated us into the ag side, which really speaks volumes to Howard and the team there at Amity and investing in us to keep on going with them. So that was great to continue forward on the ag side with them.
But we're not with Amity today, Matt.
You know what? This is where he might go, well, you didn't stay with me, but Amity is a great company, and I resigned. I resigned a couple years after that. So 6 years in about, I resigned, and I had no reason. I told my engineering manager actually at the time, probably 6 months before I actually resigned, I said, something's going on, and I think you need to find someone to replace me. You can imagine what his look was. He's like, okay, thanks for telling me. Let's keep talking. And eventually there was this trip opportunity. Men's pastor at church was constantly pestering me. We were going to Africa. We're going to Africa. Me and another guy was me. We want you to come. You should come. It's for teaching pastors. And I was like, well, and months goes on, and all of a sudden I'm like, all right, that'll be the day I'm done. And so I resigned. I went to Africa for 3 weeks, 3 different countries, Malawi, Zimbabwe, South Africa. I didn't know if I was going to come back. Well, I was like, that was a pride draw too, you know?
Right.
Maybe I should do missions, the traditional missions of being a missionary in another country for a while. And I did get back on the plane. I came back, and now I'm like, oh no, now what?
Yeah, I don't have a job.
Yeah.
Were you married at that time?
You know what? It helped to not be married. This would be neglecting family.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Back then, if I did, this would be really hard to pull off if I had debt and if I had family, if I had people depending on me.
Yeah. Okay. So you came back, plane lands.
Yeah.
What happened?
I literally was like, now what?
Yeah.
And so I did some odds and ends. I think I went to the lake somewhere. Someone invited me like, hey, come out here, hang out with us. And I did stuff, but it was like, okay, I can't just do this forever. Like a couple months were going on, and I think it was in July or something. And I had this motorcycle still. It was a Victory Vegas jackpot. And I'd heard how cool it was to go on a long trip.
Oh,
and I'm like, I've never been able to do this. Stop your job or whatever, your family. And so I was like, I'm going to go on a month-long motorcycle trip. And so I planned it out like a month later, I think in August, all of August for 30 days. I traveled. And guess what my first stop was? It was a farm show in Iowa, the Farm Progress Show. So even though I wasn't working for anyone, I was just like, I'm going to go to the farm show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I visited farmers along the way, some of them family, some of them I'd worked with previously with Amity, and I connected. So I made this route, hit all the way down to Texas, and just so many adventures I could go on and on about it. Just so many cool memories come to mind. But eventually made it up through Nevada, hit California, and some ministry partners connected me. Some missionaries I was connected with overseas said, hey, you should check out this guy and this orchard guy. And then I made it up to Washington, who was a potato farmer and wheat. And I still remember the experience. I said, put me to work. I asked him, I'd set up a drill for him for Amity. I flew out there and set up a drill. I'm like, here's what I'm doing. I called him up. You can put me to work. You don't pay me. And I was in the back of a truck throwing rocks out of the potatoes, because you don't want rocks and potatoes.
Right.
It's probably obvious. But, and I would say that's where I found out what I was going to do next. That's when it I was praying about it. I was kind of thinking about it, wrestling about it. You get a lot of time on the motorcycle, and a lot of experiences, including tarantulas in New Mexico crossing the highway. That was cool.
Wow.
But anyway, it was that moment I literally was turning home from Washington State. It was like the day I was heading back to Fargo, I'm like, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to do engineering services. Probably because that's all I do, like I'm an engineer. Maybe I can do it for other companies. Didn't have a single customer. You know how God provided though? I didn't tell anyone else. No one else knew. Besides my family knew I was on a motorcycle trip, but no one in the business world knew about what I was going to do. Cause I just decided, like the Lord just said, this is like, dropped it. I had a piece about it. Mm-hmm. And this past dealer guy who I'd worked with while I was at Amity, I worked with him to develop some designs and improvements of designs that Amity sold to him. And he called me and he goes, Matt, when I heard you quit Amity, I was so excited.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, when you get back, you give me a call. Like I didn't even tell him I was doing my own thing, that I was going to be engineering services or anything. He just was so excited. He didn't even want to listen to anything else. And he's like, you just let me know when you get back.
And so you got back on that hog. You came back.
I had a job.
You headed east and you had a job. And that was the founding of RedE. And just so folks can put it, we're talking 13, 14 years ago.
It was 13 years ago, 2012.
2012. Well, when we get back, Travis, we're going to talk all things RedE so folks know what all services we can expect to get.
We're joined in studio by the hosts, Matt and Mark, and our special guest, another Matt, in studio with RedE today.
We can never have enough Matts in the studio here, so this is great. We're almost one more and we'll have the majority in the room, so I'm liking that. So, Matt, you're just telling us how you finally figured out what you were going to do. You started a business, and that business was going to be doing, mechanical engineering in the egg industry. But that's not all that you do now. Like, how did that start? And then how did you end up doing all the rebuilding and maintenance type stuff that you guys do now?
It's really out of need. So I started out as a behind the scenes guy. You would have never heard about RedE. Maybe a nice feel good, we're in the community kind of way. But it's really when we had to start marketing ourselves for the sales side. Mm-hmm. And that was because it was something that a lot of businesses go through. It was a hard time. And we had a non-paying customer. And so this was like 5 years in.
Ooh.
So we nearly failed. We were owed tons of money, and we owed obviously people money, and we had to lay someone off, and we're a small team. We were starting to make it felt like, before this happened. And all of a sudden, this customer who we'd done services for was not paying their bills, and we got drugged behind them for over a year, trying to work with them, trying to get paid, trying to stay committed and faithful on our end. And it just proved that it wasn't going to change. We weren't going to recover from this. And so we had to do what we had to do. And just like I like to think of it as, if you go take out a loan from the bank for a mortgage, what do they do if you don't pay your bill?
All right.
They take your house, right? Your mortgage is the house. So we had the drawings. We knew where to source the parts. And we just had to figure out how to market it, to sell. And there was already a lot of customers, these other guys that had split off from them because they're just causing a lot of problems out there with their own employees and things, that wanted to buy from us. And we just kept saying, you know what? No, we got to wait. We're going to work it. We're trying to work it out with them. And when we finally took the 180, you could say, on that, with a lot of guidance, we had a board of advisors by then. We had legal counsel. We had just a lot of people in our lives investing in us and guiding us in that tough time. Actually got an SBA loan at the time just to float for a while. That's when the light switch probably flipped. And we started doing sales and marketing. Now, it didn't happen fast.
Right.
I don't know. I may look like I'm doing a great job marketing, but it didn't come naturally.
You're an engineer, right? So it's not. Most marketers don't go into engineering field. I know that. I did the same thing. So you actually, you were doing just engineering design for people. And then when somebody didn't pay and owed you a lot of money, you designed this stuff for them. And like, well, we could sell this and start recouping all that loss rate. Because people don't always understand, when you've got a partner that you're working with, customer, partner, how you word that, and they don't pay, you've already paid all the expenses for it. When they don't pay you, that's a huge hit. We have that problem in the automotive world all the time. And so you're like, well, we built this, we designed this, maybe we should sell it. That's amazing.
Yeah, you know what? It goes back to, I did not want my reputation tarnished.
Yeah.
Like this RedE brand, it took a while to come up with a name. It took a while to come up with a logo, but it's me. It's like, it's a part of me, and it's almost an unhealthy me. right? I put too much stock in it and too much whatever. But my reputation was so important to me that I was like, I've got to pull through. I thought I might fail, but I never thought I would like owe people money. I was going to figure out how to pay them back.
Mm-hmm.
And so thank the Lord that he helped us pull through. It was the most stressful time of my life. I had more anxiety than I've ever had. It was hard to sleep. And this isn't days or weeks. This is months of this.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the rest is kind of history. It took a few years to kind of spin that up, and we paid back our SBA loan early. We started paying back Jesse, my twin brother, who threw in all of his money from his house sale and was living in an apartment and everything he'd earned with John Deere for like 7+ years. And we probably borrowed money from family and a close friend. It was just everything we could do to pull this off. And it started to click. It turns out if you do something with excellence and it's a need, boy, things can happen.
Yeah. There's an excellent book out there called The Obstacle is the Way. And this is just such a great example of that, of where you think that this problem that you had where somebody wasn't paying, how are we going to get around this? You could have just tried to turn and do something else, but instead you realize that what you've done there was actually the solution and takes your whole business to the next level. So it's sometimes hard to see that, but once you get through it, that's amazing.
Yeah. And you guys are probably wondering, like, what do you even do? Right. And so I'm going to maybe throw this out there right away, is we do air seeder solutions. And if you don't know what an air seeder is, it's a machine that puts seed in the ground. You pull it behind a tractor and it does it really efficiently. In fact, Amity, the people of Amity used to own Concord, and Concord has been stated by many farmers who have told the owners of Amity, who used to own Concord, that machine, that drill, that air seeder saved my farm.
Really?
That's how big a deal it was. Because back then you're doing tillage, you're doing a seeding with a box drill or something. It wasn't large scale efficient. Now, if you can come into the field and do it all in one pass, you can bulk fill into a great big tank, your fertilizer and your seed and all that stuff. And it's durable. It goes for lots of thousands of acres. That's a great thing. And you know what? There's been a lot of air seeders since the 80s, since Concord. John Deere's done a great job. They got a factory in Valley City that employs a lot of people, and they ship machines all over the world. You've got all kinds of other brands too. Well, those machines are built well enough to last a lot of decades, but they wear out because there's a lot of moving components. To do the job well, to put those seeds where they need to go, the machine's got to have a lot of moving parts. You got a lot of parts engaging the ground. Those wear out, and that means a lot of maintenance.
Right.
And the bigger the machines get, the more row units you get. Who wants to spend 150 to 200 hours doing the worst mechanical work you can think of? And by the way, it doesn't fit in your air-conditioned shop, which most people don't have, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. Hopefully you have a heated shop, but you normally can't fit something like that in there. So we're doing the hard work of installing these parts oftentimes, but we're also designing, engineering, getting great parts to our customers, the farmers, to do a great job with their air seeders, to help them run those longer for less money, and it's really helping them survive as well. That's kind of been my goal as well, kind of like the Concord days. I would like to be a part of helping farmers survive and thrive.
So you used, I mean, you're not, like, I'm in the maintenance world, right? Where we're just fixing things, but you're using your mechanical skills to say, or mechanical engineering skills, we're not just maintaining this, but we're going to see where the weak engineering points are, and we're going to improve on that so that we can make this thing last longer next time than it did the first time after rebuild.
Yeah, we have the advantage of seeing 20 years of testing that real manufacturers a lot of times don't have, right? They get maybe 5 years in. And so here we get to see all the weak points. We get to hear the complaints of the farmers that are running them, and we get to focus on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I appreciate, Matt, you sharing that 5-year point and being vulnerable about the business and that thing, because I spent a career in egg banking, and you can see those farmers right now. They're almost going through what that 5-year point was of this. It's a tough market right now. And that's exactly where you insert yourself, because they're looking at saying, how can I be more efficient in planting to generate higher yield, which means more revenues, right? And it's sitting here going like, well, do I need to go get this brand new planter or seeder to do this? And the price tag on that is massive.
Like $500,000 it could be.
Yeah. But yet they're looking at something that's worked last year. They're getting it ready for this year. Your team helps them does it not, to just say, like, you don't need to go look at $500,000. Actually, we're going to help you get through this route right now. Share with the listeners about how you can do that.
Yeah, it sounds like a perfect fit with my background of my grandpa was a custom combiner. He couldn't afford the new stuff. He kept running his old stuff almost to a fault. When, I heard a story recently from my twin brother who said of my grandpa, I didn't know this story, but he decided it was time to quit when he's getting lapped in the field by a newer combine.
Yeah.
And anyway, he would not miss. He would get most of the grain, like more grain than any other combine out there. He really cared about the quality. Mm-hmm. Well, we would help him maintain those combines we were with him at 2 years old, and probably not doing much there. He had to more babysit us, but 5 years old, all the way through 10 years old, summers at the farm, wrenching on those combines. Now, fast forward to our personal projects, the recreational vehicles, the vehicles that we had to fix and drive when we started to drive and have a driver's license. And then now doing this, it just was a perfect fit. And it's helping those farmers survive, but also in some cases thrive. And I'd rather be a part of that than sticking a guy with $500,000 and, I hope you make it. I hope your family farm continues. Like that's a big deal to me.
And for them, it's generational, right? I mean, the farms don't just start up, right? I mean, they're in this thing for the long haul to pass it on to the next generation. And so like right now you're helping them turn around and thrive. And so Matt, incredible work. We just don't have enough time is the problem to get into this. So I want to say, if you're a farmer out there or know of a farmer, that just number one, reach out to them. It is a tough time right now in farming and just check in. But secondly, this is a huge opportunity to just be a value add, because it is, Matt, you've seen it. I mean, any business that has any kind of mechanical thing, they depreciate and there's a useful life on them. And how you plan that and budget for it. Yes, in the banking game, there's loans and there's other ways to fund it, but there's also other creative ways to just potentially give them that, next leg up. And like you said, it's almost better than new. And yet you have your same piece of equipment that you already know how to maintain and use. It's incredible what you're doing. So if there is anybody out here, Matt, that's listening and they're like, I want to hear more, where can they get connected with you?
I like to joke, I can waste a lot of your life on YouTube. We have over 400 and some videos on YouTube of what we do. And it's pretty real. Like, I'm not hiding much. If it's something that's worth seeing or doing, oftentimes it's some personal stuff too. It's kind of the farm tuber style. Go on our YouTube page. It's RedE.Ag. Look that up.
Subscribe with the other 12,000
You know what?
subscribers.
That would help.
Incredible.
Yep. A couple years ago, we were at 3,000. It felt like it was never going to grow. It's just one subscriber at a time. And now every video we post, it's like we gain another 25 to 100. Sometimes we hit 30,000 views, and yeah, it's good.
Well, and you talked about it, Matt, how like the business is yourself, and it is. It's authentically you when you sit here and you look, and there is no like, all right, Matt's going to shake off his hair and like get ready for filming. It's like, no, this is Matt. This is the brand. It's so authentic, and I'm not surprised that people connect to it, but I love that you're getting that word out. And at the end, what we love about it is that this is a Fargo-based business.
Yeah.
And you can watch these videos, and Matt goes touring the countryside all over. People know about this brand, but it comes back, everybody, to Fargo, North Dakota, to where this kid was raised and born, and all those profits come back to us. And that's what Community Forward's all about. So when we get back, we're going to hear about some of the community give back stuff, Matt, 'cause I know that's a part of your heart as well, and we appreciate it. It's still fun getting to know a little bit more about the story like Matt's. And so for folks that have been listening, Matt with RedE, Fargo-based, homegrown, he's all over, going up and down the countryside. I think I just watched him this morning of Nebraska and Kansas you were in. But it all comes back home, man. And I know you are a very giving heart. Can you tell us where some local charities or give back opportunities that you and maybe in your staff?
Yeah, most recent one, Fix It Forward Ministry.
Yeah.
I will say that I've heard about it and I thought it was cool, but I haven't taken the step to get involved. Well, I just happened to have one of your team members reach out to us because I was buying something from him on Marketplace. Oh, yeah. He's all mad. We need to talk. And so anyway, I was like, hey, let's do a podcast. Let's talk more. And man, this could be a great team building event.
Yeah.
And so we'd like to do team building events with our team. There's a lot of things that Jess and I individually sponsor and get involved with, but I think there's a lot of great things. And Shields, the Shields model is fabulous. That's what I learned at that Faith Forward conference, listening to Steve Shields. And And it really inspires me to do more. But obviously a big part of the church things, youth group, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. There's so many things that you can get involved with.
And I know of something you're not saying. So yes, very much give back here. And I just have to share, like, this is how like small our community is. Unbeknownst to you guys, when that Fix It Forward ministry thing is going on, Steve just shot me a text. So you guys probably don't even know I know Steve. Steve goes, is there any way you can maybe get Matt on the radio?
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's on next Monday. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. And so that's how small our community is, that people know people and these connections. So just love to hear that. Matt, did we cover enough time with spotlighting RedE? Is there anything we didn't ask that you'd like to share with our listenership of just RedE and all you have available?
You know, I could talk on and on. It's really exciting and easy to talk when it's something you're passionate about, and it's great to be in the company of you three. One thing I want to highlight and shout out is just the community already has been so helpful and so promoting business. That is not common in the rest of the world. And I think North Dakota has even a special place, and Fargo too. So drilling down, we happen to be Business Persons of the Year in 2023. Got to go to Washington, D.C., and it was a rare opportunity to actually get to go to the White House. And at that time, Biden was there, and we got to shake his hand. And Jesse said, I'm Jesse, one of the Reds at RedE, and we're from the great state of North Dakota. Of course, Minnesota's a part of that too. We're border towns, border states, and we got one foot in each side, right? And we've just been so thankful for the chamber, and everybody's rooting us on. We've got people who are on our board who don't require payment to give us advice.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's another sign that this community is going to keep thriving. Just so many good things. If I can be a part of someone else's success or help them out or give them advice, I like to share my experience and share my knowledge. If there's some farmers out there that are listening that would like us to come take a look at their equipment, their air seeder, their planter, and give them a free inspection, we do that.
Free inspection is pretty crazy. Like, that's a lot of investment for you guys to go look at that. So it costs them nothing to have you go out and look at it. That really surprised me when I saw that.
Yep. Inspections are free, but the parts and service are extra.
Yeah.
And the knowledge of Matt, I just watched the video and he's driving down. It was in Nebraska, and you look and you're like, that's a 30-inch row right there. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, how can you see that? I'm sitting here going, I think it's wheat.
Yeah.
That's where my eyesight goes. You're talking to an expert.
And I try not to sound dumb because I know a lot of farmers know a lot more than me.
Yeah. And they're watching your videos, absolutely.
Where you just went, though, Matt, is what you thought we were going to lead in today, of how great of a community we have.
Absolutely.
Moorhead. And so, but we took a detour when we heard about the staffing thing, but you just touched on it, Matt. It's just, number one, you're gracious to say all of that, right? It's not about Matt in that moment. He knows that people are pouring into him, but he's the person to pour into. And so we appreciate you coming on. I'm going to ask it again because we always end with it. What can the community do to support you?
Man, just keep rooting us on. You know what? If you could keep sending great people my way to be on our team. We just had a new one start today. That's going to be great. We can tell. You can just tell. Great energy, great background. And yet we're going to have someone leave us soon that we need to replace.
Well, there's a lot of people here that love being in part of the mechanical side of ag, right? And so this is a great opportunity to be able to make a big impact in the farmers' lives when you have a passion around that.
Yeah, engineering. Big shout out. I know there's a lot of great engineers in this town. If I can get a great senior engineer, a couple engineers, we've got all kinds of positions, sales, admin, warehouse. It seems like we're growing and we want great people to be on the team. Join us.
As much as that sounds like, oh man, how beautiful to be growing, to need help, to employ people. And that's what we love about small local businesses. So keep going, Matt. We're here rooting you on.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here.